What should I do?
Oh, you can still answer. I'll put us on
Oh, it left.
video.
It left. Darn. Never know what to do.
You can always answer. I just put it on pause. So
maybe it'll come up again. Hello?
hi, Betsy, are you there?
Yeah, but I'm a parent. I mean, I'm a teacher.
Okay.
I was a teacher, but I'm a parent. And
okay.
Senora Brody just gave me this link.
Oh, that's fine. That's fine, Betsy. We'll be we were potentially going to have a hi everybody.
Hi.
Okay, so we're just going to have our regular story night. We weren't sure if we could get our Native American Heritage Month stories in, so we'll just go ahead and start. It'll just be our regular night. We already had some planned stories, but since it is Native American Heritage Month and we do have some resources on our Puesta del Sol PTA website, but in honor of Native American Heritage Month, we just wanted to do a land acknowledgement, and we acknowledge that we occupy the ancestral lands of the Coast Salish peoples, in particular the Tulalip, Snohomish, Stillaguamish, and South Seattle tribes. We see you, respect your right to sovereignty and self-determination, and are committed to being better listeners, learners, and in lifting Indigenous voices. And then again, being better listeners, learners, and in lifting Indigenous voices. And then again, better listeners, learners, and in lifting. In consideration of that, we do have on our website, www.puestadelsolpta.org, we do have some resources for families who are interested in that. But without further ado, we'll just go ahead and get Senora Brody started on our reschedule of our bedtime stories. Thank you again, everyone, for joining us.
Good evening, everybody. It's so nice to see you at Bedtime Stories. Do have your crown on. I unfortunately left mine at school. Darn. So I hope you are wearing yours. All right. I know Thanksgiving is over, but last week I was supposed to read you Thanksgiving stories, so I'm still going to do that this week. And then maybe I can read you an Indigenous story for next month. So we're going to start out with One is a Feast for a Mouse. Here we go. Here's this cute little mouse who's sitting all by himself on Thanksgiving. After Thanksgiving dinner, Mouse crept out of his hidey hole and looked around. The house was quiet. Dad snoozed in his chair with his book. Mom dozed in front of the TV. Outside, the kids played football in the crisp yellow leaves. Cat curled up by the fire. He yawned and stretched his stripy tail. Then he closed his greeny eyes and went to sleep. Thank goodness for this mouse. Mouse scampered up the tablecloth. Thanksgiving leftovers were still on the table. Yes, so much to eat. Mouse saw a teensy-tiny toothsome green pea all by itself on a plate. Give thanks, he thought. One will be a feast for me. Mouse rolled the pea across the tablecloth to take it back to his hidey hole. Oh, there he is. I think he's holding it right there. Here we go. But his eyes were bigger than his stomach. He saw 6 leftover cranberries glowing like rubies on a silver saucer. I'll just take one, he said to himself. One is a feast for me. He balanced one cranberry on top of the pea and started once again across the table to his hidey hole. Just then he saw, 3 olives, black and shiny in a dish. There they are, they're looking good. I'll just take one, he thought. One is a feast for me. He put the olive on top of the cranberry, on top of the pea, and carried the tidbits across the table. Think you're going to see something else? If you said yes, then you were right. He saw the carrot sticks, crunchy and munchy and orange. I'll just take one, he thought. One is a feast for me. He stuck one carrot stick into the hole in the olive, balanced both on top of the cranberry, on top of the pea, and started back to his hidey hole. Guess what? Then he saw the mashed potatoes. Mouse potatoes. There was just one scoop left on the plate. Oh, I'll just take the plate, Mouse thought. What a feast I will have. He balanced the plate of potatoes on top of the carrot stick, in the hole in the olive, and on top of the cranberry, on top of the pea. Mouse started off across the table. What do you think? Then he saw the gravy, brown and luscious in the silver gravy bowl. Gravy for the mouse potatoes, he thought. I must have that for my feast. And he balanced the gravy boat on top of the mashed potatoes, on top of the carrots, on top of the carrot stick, stuck in the olive, on top of the cranberry, on top of the pea, and he started off. What do you think? Then he spotted, oh yes, the pumpkin pie. One slice of pie, brown and dimpled with a collar of fluffy cream. So he balanced the pie on top of the gravy boat, on top of the mashed potatoes, on top of the carrot stick, stuck in the olive hole, in the hole in the olive, on top of the cranberry, on top of the pea. He started off across the table. Ooh, this looks like it's getting dangerous. The pie slid, but Mouse caught it just in time. Mouse bobbed and bobbled across the tablecloth on the way to his hidey hole for his Thanksgiving feast. He didn't see the cat, creeping closer and closer. Oh dear, and there he is, trying to hold up everything. Look at this. What a page. But Mouse saw the turkey. Oh, the turkey, brown and juicy, surrounded with parsley. Much was gone, but there was enough left for a mouse feast, or even two. I'll just add that, thought Mouse, and he carefully placed the turkey platter on the very top of his pile. Top of the pie, on top of the gravy, on top of the mashed potatoes, on top of the carrot sticks stuck to the hole in the olive, on top of the cranberry, on top of the peas. That's a lot of food for a little mouse to carry. Here we go. The pie slid. The mouse caught it just into, oh, hang on, I'm in the wrong page. Just a sec. I turned it the wrong way. Whoa, look at this picture. That cat is going to pounce on that mouse. Oh dear. He started off across the table to his hidey hole, and there at the table's edge, he met the cat. Oh dear. Greedy-eyed and hungry, clawing up the table on the tablecloth. Oh no, I think this is a disaster looking to happen. Mouse skidded to a stop. The turkey wibbled and wobbled and slid and slipped. Mouse danced to keep his feet balanced, pirouetted like a ballerina, chuckled like a platter spinner, but off slid the turkey, whoosh, with a plop, landing smack on the cat. Uh-oh. Down crashed the pumpkin pie and the boat with the gravy. Down crashed the mashed potatoes with a clatter that woke Mom. Down fell the carrot stick, still impaled in the olive. Down went the cranberry, which rolled, leaving a red track across the tablecloth. Down went the pea, all catterwampus off the table, rolling onto the floor. Off scampered Mouse, quick as a bandit, back to his hidey hole ahead of the cat. He hunkered down in his hidey hole. His heart pitter-pattered. He peered out. Down came the broom on the stripy green-eyed cat. Bad kitty, shouted Mom, outside. And she swept the cat out the door. Mouse looked around, his whiskers trembling with fright. Oh, no Thanksgiving feast for me, he thought. But just then he spotted, glowing in the corner. Can you see it way down there? Oh my goodness. One teensy tiny round and toothsome green and luscious pea. Give thanks. One is a feast for me. Oh my goodness. All that food, but at least he ended up with one little pea. There we go. I love it. So the next book I want to read is also about turkey, but it's about a little girl whose family doesn't celebrate with turkey. And I think it's an important book to read. So here we go. It's called Duck for Turkey Day. To get ready for Thanksgiving, Tuyette's class sang turkey songs. They made pine cone turkeys. They talked about pilgrims and Native Americans. See you on Monday, Mrs. Cook said when the bell rang. Have a great turkey day. Tuyette was excited about the Thanksgiving holiday. They would get 3 days off from school. Yes. But there was something important she had to talk to Mama about. Mama, Tuyette said as soon as she got home, we need a turkey for Thanksgiving. Oh, no, we don't, Mama smiled. We'll buy duck at the market. But everybody else will have turkey, Tuyette said. That afternoon, Ba Noi arrived from New York. Tuyette hugged her grandmother. We're having duck for Thanksgiving dinner. I know, Ba Noi said. We're using my recipe from Vietnam. Everybody else will have turkey. Our family likes duck better, Ba Noi answered. Back home, Tuyette went to her bedroom. She pulled her pinecone turkey out of her book bag. Mama and Ba Noi don't know the rules about Thanksgiving, she told the turkey. Tuyette counted the money in her wallet. $12. It might be enough to buy a turkey at the market. On Wednesday, Mama drove Tuyette and Ba Noi to the Saigon supermarket. Tuyette held her wallet in her hand. Inside the store, she saw all sorts of vegetables. She saw fish, pork, duck, chicken, beef, shrimp, but no turkey anywhere. Tuyette watched Ba Noi talk to the man at the counter. He handed her a package. This duck will be delicious, Ba Noi told Tuyette. Tuyette put her wallet back in her pocket. The next morning, good cooking smells filled the house. Tuyette peeked into the kitchen. Soon all kinds of food would be out on the table, but there would be no turkey. Tuyette ran to her room and brought back the pine cone turkey she had made in school. Now there's a turkey on the table, she said to herself. She felt a little better. Her cousins, Kimberly and Min, came over at 3. They played tag outside until the grown-ups were ready to eat. Did you know we're having duck for Thanksgiving dinner? Tuyette asked her cousins. Yum, said Kimberly. I love duck. With spicy sauce, said Min. They're duck fans. Mama called them inside for dinner. Kimberly and Min ran up the steps. But Tuyette walked slowly. Was she the only one who knew that Thanksgiving was Turkey Day? I'd like to give thanks, Daddy said, when they sat down at the table, for our home And our family? For America, Bonoy said, raising her glass. For all this good food, Min said, picking up his fork. I'm hungry. Everyone laughed and passed their plates to be filled. Juliet had a little bit of everything, but she had seconds of the duck. She loved the spicy sauce and dark meat. When it was time to say goodbye, everybody hugged. What a great Thanksgiving day, Kimberly told Tuyet. It had been wonderful, Tuyet thought, with lots of good food and family fun. Uh-oh, but what would Miss Cook say about eating duck on Turkey Day? On Monday morning, Mrs. Cook gathered the class on the story rug. How was your Turkey Day? She asked. Tyler raised his hand. My grandpa came. We played football. That's nice, Mrs. Cook said. Who else saw grandparents? Tuyet raised her hand along with other classmates. Who saw cousins? Mrs. Cook asked. Tuyet raised her hand again. Who'd like to talk about their dinner? Mrs. Cook looked around the room. Tuyet put her hand down. Tears burned her eyes. Is something wrong? Mrs. Cook asked gently. We didn't have any turkey, Tuyet blurted out. We had duck. For a few minutes, the class was quiet. Then Fong raised his hand. We didn't have turkey either, he said. We had noodles and chicken. We had lamb, Tarek said. We had roast beef, Jonathan said. We had enchiladas, Carolina said. We had tofu turkey, Amy said. Mrs. Cook smiled. It doesn't matter what you eat on Thanksgiving, as long as you have a good time with your family and your friends. After school, Tuyet hurried home. Mama, she called when she opened the door. I have a new name for Thanksgiving. In our house, we can call it Duck Day. So there we go. A very happy girl who learned that not everyone has turkey for Thanksgiving. So I just want to happen to mention the holiday that is coming up in December. Lots of people celebrate Christmas, but just like Tuyet, there are other people who celebrate other holidays. Some people celebrate Kwanzaa. Some people celebrate Hanukkah. So I know that I have lots of decorators who are going to be decorating to the library for our holiday, but we will be decorating, not with a Christmas tree, not with anything else but snowflakes. In fact, we're going to be starting our snow dance in hopes of snow by Christmas time or Hanukkah time or Kwanzaa time. And we will have lots of snowflakes lining the halls and the walls in the library. So we'll look forward to all that snow and hopefully it'll come to us. But I also want you to remember that other people to be careful because think about how many other holidays fall during December and how many different people we have in our school who celebrate different holidays, and be mindful of that. All righty, good job. Let's see, Mrs. Sasaki, do we have the person who is going to read our stories or not? The other story or not? Don't think so.
I don't think so. I think you're correct. So we can keep going with the other stories.
Okay, perfect. I am going to actually read one little short poem that says, thank someone. And I know we just always say that we're very thankful for Thanksgiving and having family and friends around, but also in the upcoming holidays, it's also good to be thankful because I think some of those holidays involve presents. So here is a thank someone poem. Mom put down the pepper just to help me find my shoe. Kim likes chocolate donuts, so her cousin gave her 2. Grandpa played with Julio and took him to the park. If you forget to thank someone, say thank you in the dark. Thank the moon and thank the sun. Most of all, thank someone. Thank the stars high above, one for everyone you love. So when the holidays are coming, these next holidays, be sure and say thank you and maybe give kisses and hugs. All righty, one last book. Oh, actually, we're going to read this book. And if we have time, we'll see about the next one. This is called Fill a Bucket. So it's a guide to daily happiness for young people. So let's find out what we need to do to fill the bucket. I think adults can fill the bucket too. The day you were born was a very happy day. It was your birthday, a day you celebrate every year. You were a new person, and this means all of you, and a special gift. You received a gift too, your very own name, a name as special as you. What is your name? I'm gonna count to 3 and everyone say their name. 1, 2, 3. Senora Brody. Right. Didn't hear you all, but I bet you said your name. Everyone was so happy to see you, but there was one part of you that they could not see. It was your bucket, your invisible bucket. Everyone is born with an invisible bucket, but no one can see your bucket, but it is always with you. Your bucket is a very important part of you. It is an important part of everyone. I think adults have buckets too. Your bucket holds all the love and happiness you receive each day. When your bucket is full, you feel happy. When your bucket is empty, you feel maybe sad. It's good to have a full bucket. Every day, your family and lots of other people help fill your bucket. When your daddy kisses and tickles you, he fills your bucket. That makes you feel good and it's fun. Your giggles fill his bucket too. When your mommy smiles and tells you when she loves you, she is filling your bucket. Your smiles fill her bucket too. When your sister or your brother snuggles and reads to you, your buckets fill up even more. When your grandpa or your grandma plays with you, everyone's bucket is filled. Look, your bucket is so full. It is full of happy thoughts and lots of love. So many people have filled your bucket. You can fill their buckets too. Bucket filling is like magic. When you fill a bucket by being kind and loving, your bucket fills up too. You can do so many things to fill buckets every day. When you listen and help, you are filling your bucket or someone's bucket. Your bucket fills up more. When you say please and thank you, your magic words fill buckets. When you play and share your toys, everyone is happy. Everyone's invisible bucket is filled. When you take care of your pet, you are filling a bucket. Your bucket fills up too. When you smile and wave to those you see, you are being a bucket filler. When you give hugs and kisses, your love fills buckets. It's good to go to sleep with a bucket full of happiness and love, definitely. Look at all the happy faces. Everyone's bucket is filled. Now it's your turn. What can you do to fill a bucket today? Think of all the things you could do at home or at school. And today at school, I was subbing in a class and I noticed somebody helping another student with a project. And that was filling that person's book because they were getting help. And then that other person who was helping had their bucket filled That was a really good feeling. And that is the end. Think about what you can do to fill your bucket and somebody's bucket tomorrow at school. All right, cool. All right, so we have one more quick story here. This is called The Very Noisy Night. It was the middle of the night, and Big Mouse was fast asleep in his big bed. Little Mouse was wide awake in her little bed. In her little bed. Big Mouse, Big Mouse, Big Mouse, called Little Mouse. I can hear something rushing around the house, huffing and puffing. Big Mouse opened one eye and one ear. Oh, it's only the wind, he said. Can I come into your bed? Asked the little mouse. No, said Big Mouse. There isn't room. And he turned over and went back to sleep. Little Mouse lay listening to the wind, and suddenly between a huff and a puff came a tap, tap, tap. Little Mouse climbed out of bed, opened the front door just a crack, and peeked out. Whoosh went the wind. There was no one outside. Big Mouse, cried the little mouse. I can hear something tapping. Perhaps there's a burglar on the roof. Big Mouse got out of bed and opened the bedroom curtain. Look, he said, it's only a branch tapping on the window. Go back to sleep. Am I coming to your little bed? Asked Little Mouse. No, said Big Mouse. You wriggle. This bucket isn't getting filled. Little Mouse lay in his own bed and listened to the wind huffing and puffing and the branch tapping and someone calling, ooh, ooh, ooh. Little Mouse climbed out of bed again. This time he looked under it. Then he looked in the closet and feeling very frightened, he cried, Big Mouse, I think there's a ghost in the house and it's looking for me. It keeps calling, who, 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 who. Big Mouse sighed, sat up and listened. It's only an owl, he said. It's awake like you. Can I come into your bed? Asked Little Mouse. No, said the Big Mouse. Your paws are always cold. And Big Mouse pulled the blanket over his head and went back to sleep. Little Mouse got back into his own bed and he lay and listened to the wind huffing and puffing, the branch tapping, and the owl hooting. But shh, what was that? Big Mouse, he called. I can hear a drip. It's dripping. I think it's raining inside. And Little Mouse jumped out of bed and fetched his red umbrella. Drip, drip, drip. Ooh, maybe there is a leak in the roof. Good heavens. Big Mouse got out of bed too. He opened the front door. Be quiet, wind, he said. Be quiet, branch. Be quiet, owl. But they didn't listen. Then Big Mouse went into the kitchen, turned off the dripping tap, and put away the umbrella. Can I come into your bed? Asked the little mouse. No, you're nice and snug in your own bed, said Big Mouse, taking him back to his bedroom. Little Mouse lay and listened to the wind huffing and puffing and the branch tapping. The owl, what? Hooting, you're right. And just as he was beginning to feel very sleepy indeed, he heard, wee, wee, wee. Big Mouse, he called, you're snoring. Oops, sorry, big book, hard to turn pages. Wearily, Big Mouse got up. He put his earmuffs on Little Mouse's ears. He put a paperclip on his own nose, and he went back to sleep. Think that Little Mouse is going to get to sleep? She's got nice earmuffs that keep things quiet. Little Mouse lay and listened to nothing. It was very, very, very quiet. He couldn't hear the wind huffing, the branch tapping, or the owl hooting, or Big Mouse snoring. It was so quiet that Little Mouse felt he was all alone in the world. He took off the earmuffs, got out of bed, and pulled the paper clip off Big Mouse's nose. Big Mouse, he cried, I'm lonely. Big Mouse flung back his blanket. Oh, you better come into my bed, he said. So Little Mouse hopped in, and his paws were cold. Oh, and he needed just a little wriggle before he fell fast asleep. Big Mouse lay and listened to the wind huffing and puffing, and the branch tapping, and the owl hooting, and the little mouse snuffling. And very soon he heard the birds waking up. Oh my goodness. But neither of them heard the alarm clock. Oh dear. Because they were both fast asleep. Oh, thank goodness. Look at them. They are out cold. Finally. Now they have to get them to go to school, right? Oh my goodness. The end. All righty. So hopefully you can get to sleep, even if the wind is blowing, or the trees are tap tapping, or your brother or sister is snoring. Who knows? All righty. That is the end of story time for tonight. Next month, we will have some more really good snoring, but also stories about winter type activities, I think, or other things. So everybody have a very, very good night tonight. And thank you, Mrs. Senora Sasaki, for setting up this program, because it sure is fun.
Thank you, Senora Brody. Again, our next bedtime stories will be Tuesday, December 14th. We'll see you all then. Have a good night, everybody. Buenas noches.
Buenas noches.